Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. Imagine, if you will, all of these coins sitting nicely in a display case, and then 9 minutes later they are gone. Just like that. And that is theft. And we're going to talk about two likely scenarios that have occurred here as to why they are gone as we explore. Doctor Who shared this story with me, and it is another one that you can chalk up to a playlist, a running playlist that has been going on with this channel for many years now. Precious metals crimes. People love gold and will do anything to get it. Silver too. And in this case, it looks like they were very, very quick and very professional at it, as I shared the story from DW.com. Celtic gold coins worth millions have been stolen from a German museum. Staff at the museum in Manching, a town in Bavaria, discovered a broken display case. Authorities said a daring heist occurred in the early hours Tuesday, a precision strike, if you will, in a record amount of time. Employees at the Roman Celtic Museum in the Bavarian town of Manching discovered 450 Celtic coins valued at several million euros was apparently looted from a display case early Tuesday morning. Local police said that a showcase was broken, although investigators provided scant additional hints as to who or what may be behind the alleged heist, according to AFP news agency. The coins were the showpiece of the museum. Specialists from Bavaria State Criminal Police are investigating right now. The loss of the Celtic treasure is a disaster, said Bavarian's Minister of Science and Arts Markus Blum. As a testament to our history, the gold coins are irreplaceable. Indeed. In fact, discovered and pieces like this can help either confirm or even rewrite history. It is a priceless treasure, not just for the gold, but because of the history behind them. So it is very unfortunate to see that this has occurred. Authorities were quick to note that there had been a disruption to phone and internet services at the time of the heist. That tells you it's professionally done. Mayor Hubert Nerb told the German newspaper Süddeutsche Zeitung they cut off the whole of Manching, so the whole town was cut off. Boy, that is something else. That is a professional job there to take all of the internet down and phone service. The museum is actually a high-security location, but all the connections to the police were severed, he added. That just goes to show you there's nothing can replace good old-fashioned man-on-the-ground security in those cases. I know that is the case. Many times you see some of the coin shows out there, they have security on staff, and they typically stay overnight with the loot in between days of the coin shows. So, but nonetheless, there was not a security personnel there. Nerb said that the looting of the 450 gold coins, again, is a complete catastrophe for the entire town. And the coins were discovered in 1999, and they date back to the 3rd century BC. And this is the latest in a string of heists in Germany. That is part of the trend here of German museums. And again, what's interesting about this case is there was no security guard and present, from what I read from another story that mirrors this one and gives a little bit more detail here, but this is just the latest in the recent. Dresden Royal Palace was hit by thieves in 2019 who staged a bold nighttime raid on the Green Vault Museum, and that heist was worth at least $117 million. Remarkable, and that mostly that was jewelry, one of the largest at the time. Now, what this article does not mention is the heist that we saw, that I covered on this story, from a museum in Bode in Berlin, Bode Museum, and that is the humongous gold coin stolen from the Berlin Museum. And pretty fascinating. I covered this. They actually did end up catching the folks, and they were tied, they think, to organized crime, and likely an inside job as was the case here, many of you probably saying the same thing, as this was probably an inside job as well too, because there was no security guard present. But pretty remarkable. What an amazing thing to see. Now, if the organized crime was involved like the last one, this coin has never been recovered. But in fact, there is security footage that showed that this coin was dropped a couple of times in transit. So they were in it just for the gold, not for the numismatic value of the piece, and very unlikely that it would have been sold as one big chunk anyway. And likely the same thing with these coins, just too high profile these things are. They are very different than other coins, or kind of bowl-shaped, as you can see in this image here. So they just are in it for the gold, which likely these will be melted down too, which is a travesty because the historic value is going to be lost. It's one of those things where, what do you do as police officials? Do you say, hey, we will pay you for the coins back for their history, but then you are rewarding crime? And so how do you handle such a case where likely that history is going to be gone when they melt these things down and sell them in bars, what have you? But 450 gold coins, they're very thin. So likely it's not that much weight, but they're worth a lot of money. The other thing they could do is lay low, distribute them in such a manner or form that they could be resold through several different channels legitimately. But then again, I don't know how rare, how often are these things found. My guess is probably not a whole lot. So they would raise the ire among numismatists probably in Europe. But we'll see. Obviously, a very professional case done, because these were gone in 9 minutes time. And pretty remarkable. In fact, here is that other story, and it shows a little different number, but 9 minutes. This has the exact time. I think this story was published a little later, and this shows it was 483 Celtic coins and a lump of unworked gold. So there was a little bit of other gold there with it, and so, but nonetheless, it has the time stamps on it as well. That how at 1:17 a.m. on Tuesday, cables were cut at Telecom's hub less than a mile from the Celtic and Roman Museum in Manching, knocking out communication networks in the entire region. And security systems at the museum recorded that a door was pried open at 1:26 a.m., and then how the thieves left again at 1:35 a.m. It was in those 9 minutes that the culprits must have smashed open a display cabinet and scooped out the treasure. Bavaria's Minister of Science and Arts, Marcus Blum, said evidence pointed to the work of professionals. It's clear that you don't simply march into a museum and take this treasure with you, he told the public broadcaster. It's highly secured, and as such, there's a suspicion that we're rather dealing with a case of organized crime. Officials acknowledged, however, that there was no guard at the museum overnight. An alarm system was deemed to provide sufficient security, said Rupert Gebhard, who heads the Bavarian State Archaeological Collection in Munich. Gebhard said that the hoard was of great value both for the local community in Manching and for the archaeologists across Europe. The bowl-shaped coins, which date back to 100 BC, were made from Bohemian River gold and show how the Celtic movement in Manching had links across Europe, he said. And Gebhard estimates the value of the treasure to be about $1.65 million. The archaeologists hope that the coins remain in their original state and reappear again at some point, adding that they are well documented and would be hard to sell. The worst option was melting down would mean a total loss, he said, noting that the material value of the gold itself would only run to about 250,000 euros at current market prices. And yes, indeed, Gebhard said that the size of the trove suggested it might have been the war chest of a tribal chief. It was found inside of a sack buried beneath building foundations and was the biggest such discovery made during regular archaeological excavations in Germany in the 20th century. Lemur, the deputy police chief, said Interpol and Europol have already been alerted to the coin's theft, and a 20-strong special investigation unit, codenamed Oppidum, after the Latin term for the Celtic settlement, have been established to track down the culprits. So they're on the case. Lemur said that there are parallels between the heist in Manching and the theft of the large gold coin in Berlin. So this story is more in depth here. And the $1 billion in jewels in Dresden, which may have been the biggest jewel heist in history. And both have been blamed on a Berlin-based crime family. Whether there's a link, we can't say, only this much. We are in touch with colleagues to investigate all possible angles. And so, yes, indeed. So in 2020, German police said they arrested 3 suspects in the Dresden heist, and we know that there has been arrest made for the other piece as well, for the large, humongous gold coin stolen in the Bode Museum in Berlin. Very interesting indeed. By the way, that coin was 220 pounds. Took several guys to lift it out, and they dropped it. Pretty remarkable. But nonetheless, there it is. Let me know what your thoughts are. Thanks again to Dr. Who for sharing this with me, and I hope you guys enjoyed this story. Fascinating indeed. Crime is paying for those who get away with it, but nonetheless, we get our gold here legally. If you enjoy stories like this, I hope you would consider pressing the thumbs up button and subscribing to the channel. And I want to extend a multitude of gratitude to all of you for taking the time to watch. And again, to encourage you to please rate, share this video as well, comment, and subscribe.